you argue about Carmelo Anthony that people is not holding him accountable. You know, 'cause people are just immediately defending him and excusing his actions. Why do you think that?
Cause they just want to see a black man get off for killing a white boy.
Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Roots. We have a real conversation with real people. Today we have a special guest. Some people may know him as being ignorant, but sometimes the truth may ruffle some feathers. Welcome, Ben. How you doing?
Chilling, man. I appreciate you having me here, man.
I appreciate you coming in. Before I even start, I want to let the listeners know how I discovered you was on TikTok. You a content creator. I know you more than just that, so I ain't gonna just label you that. Um, but yeah. I came across your content, and one of the things that caught my attention is you have a I look at you as a free thinker. You speak what's on your mind. You're very direct, and very straightforward, and I want to get to the root of accountability in the black community. You constantly call out problems within the black culture, even when even when you get labeled as a coon. Why do
Yeah.
so? Why do you think some black people become more offended by the person exposing the problem than by the problem itself?
Because it's easier to be upset or to deflect when you're upset, or you can point to the person to, undermine what's coming out of their mouth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's easier to discredit me as the person versus discredit what I'm saying. Because if
hmm
you would think that it wouldn't matter who's saying it if it's still factual information,
right,
But oftentimes with our people and our community, as much as we claim we do, we don't like accountability. Or if we do, we want it to come from who we want it to come from.
right.
So it's like politicking and picking and choosing who gets to deem or who gets to spread that accountability.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree to that, man. You know, a lot of people have a lot of yes men around them.
Yeah.
So, so I can get that. But let me ask you this then. Do you believe that reaction comes from loyalty to black people? Let me ask you different. Let me start that question over. Do you believe that reaction comes from loyalty to black people, embarrassment about our problems, or an unwillingness to take accountability?
Um, I don't think we got. I don't think it's the first one, because I don't really think that we have loyalty to our people as a collective. Again, I think it's more politicking and picking and choosing, and that, like, who gets that loyalty. So I wouldn't agree with the
Uh,
first one. So I would lean more toward the last 2 points that you made. Um, the it's hard for anybody to look in the mirror and say, you know, maybe I'm in this position, or maybe this is happening to me because this is, something I'm doing, or, we're in this position because of things that we're doing, versus, pointing to external factors to say, yeah, it's that, it's this, it's that, it's the system, it's those people, you know what I'm saying? So even on a micro level, when we talk about our own lives, you
right.
know, it's easier to point out than to look inward.
Right. But so, you know, but let me ask you this is why you mention that? Why do black people always gotta blame the system or blame the white man instead of them looking at themselves?
Because it's easier. It's
Uh,
easier. It's a scapegoat to point at, the white man for your problems. It's easier to point at the system, or the school to prison pipeline, or the judicial system, or police brutality, or, racism or whatnot. And it's not, and when I say that, oftentimes people, that's where the coon insinuations come from. They're like, oh, well, you dismissing these things. It's not about dismissing them. At the end of the day, this is our reality. They're not going away anytime soon. So as you can either sit and complain about it and let
right.
that shit restrict you and confine you into a pigeonhole, or you can figure out how. It's like, people don't think that we can multitask. We're
Mhm.
multifaceted. So it's like, I can understand that these traps, like that's what I call them, these traps exist. You know, the judicial system, the school to prison pipeline, and all the things we talk about over and over and over again. It's like we've been given the cheat code, so we know these things exist, unlike our, grandparents or great grandparents or our ancestors who were, they didn't have the leg up that we do. We
I
we
agree to
saw
that.
we saw what they went through. We saw, and it's like we put ourselves. It's like we take it for granted, and we worse off than they were, especially like
Mm,
mentally and culturally. And so it's like I can I can take what they went through, take the knowledge, the history, and everything that
right.
we have, and I can navigate in this modern world as a black man to be successful, or I can just look at that history, look at the things they went through, and continue to use it as an excuse. Which one
Mm,
is easier for our people as a whole to use it as an excuse? Because in order to, be successful, achieve the things you want, it's hard. You know what I'm saying? It's
right.
hard as it is, and then when we as black people are already handicapped, it's even harder. But I mean, it come to a point like, do you want or do you not?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's so you got to do something, and a lot of times people just don't want to do anything.
I agree to that. And I believe it's the media, bro. I believe one thing I know about the media, they know how to manipulate black people. It's two things.
Oh yeah.
They gotta use race and maybe money. But I know one of the main things is race to manipulate them to keep them in control so they can stay stuck. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And one of the things that one of the content that you made that caught my attention um was the William Lepart, that 19-year-old kid who got killed in
Yeah.
Compton.
Yeah.
So you called out the lack of outrage surrounding his death. Why do you believe a 19-year-old black man could reportedly be killed over a baseball hat without the black community showing greater
Um,
outrage?
because that's our norm. You know what I'm saying? People don't, and I'm not gonna say like our everyday person. It's like we're comfortable with that. A
Right.
lot of us come from areas or neighborhoods or upbringings where we saw that it's normalized. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
From our media that we consume, from our culture that we promote, from our music. So it's kind of normalized. So when we see it, you might be like, the average person like, ah, that sucks. But it's like it's normal. It's like, I mean, one of the most popular shows, you got Power, you got The Wire, you got Snowfall, you know what I'm saying? So we
yeah.
see that and people want to say that's not our culture, but it is, because 50 Cent don't make nothing else but those type of shows, and his top show right now is the Power Origins. You know what
Mm,
I'm saying? With Baby Ghost and Tommy and them and Kanan.
yeah.
So, and it's a top show right now. That 50 Cent can't make no other TV show but it. So it's got to be. You can't deny that we embedded within our culture. Um.
Hmm.
So is normalized to us. So we don't that outrage isn't gonna or that emotional trigger isn't going to come out the way it does when we talk about, things like the Carmelo Anthony situation or the Rick Child situation. These racially charged situations is like that's what we care about more, because it goes back to the white man. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So it's funny that you said that it's not norm to see black on black crime, right? But
Yeah.
it's crazy how because you have mentioned how some Europeans was, I believe it was in L.A.
Yeah, for the World Cup. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for the World Cup, and they walk in with different colors, and I believe they was in Crenshaw, and
Yeah.
nothing happened. And why do you think outsiders can sometimes do that safely while a young black man can reportedly lose his life over a hat?
Again, it comes it's a it's a couple things. I say
Yeah.
again, comfortability with harming our own people. We're more
Hmm.
comfortable with doing things, it's easier to do things to people within your vicinity and you're comfortable with than it is to do it to strangers or, opposite race or whatnot.
Right.
And then it kind of goes back to it's kind of like a it's kind of like a play off of the systems that we complain about, right? We
Right.
the systems we complain about impacting us as far as, white versus black, those very same systems, those black people who choose to do harm to other black people know that that same system does not value us the same. So it's kind of like I know they not gonna come after me for going and doing harm or whatnot to another black person because the system doesn't value black people. So even subconsciously as a black man or, like the little YNs or whatever, I'm gonna go steal from my own people because I know that system don't give a fuck about our people. So I can get away with it. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Right.
Versus if I go over to that white neighborhood, I know they ain't gonna play. And it's funny because one of my partners, he an officer out in Atlanta. And I never forget the story he told me, everybody know how it is out that way.
Yeah.
And all the little carjackings and stuff like that, the little shiesty boys and stuff. And
Hmm.
he was like, they end up finally catching him, out there in the cab. He ended up catching them because they went like a month or two just going
Yeah.
crazy. So long story short, they ended up catching him, and he had him in the backseat of his cruiser and just chopping up on some real shit. Like, man, why y'all don't, why y'all do this to people that saw you growing up? Like, this your neighborhood. Why you taking? Why you stealing?
Uh,
From people in your own neighborhood that you don't that they don't even have it like that. Like, why not go across the city and go rob them white folks because they got it. They got insurance. Like it's gonna they not gonna miss it. He looked him straight. The little boy looked him straight in the eye. Said, "Ah, man, them crackers don't play. They'll kill you over there."
damn.
So they even those teenagers, they 15, 14, 16 years old, and they already know this. But
Mm.
they'll do harm to their own people, but won't touch them white people, just like those folks in Compton, in Crenshaw around the stadium for the World Cup. Them Europeans, them foreigners. If I'm a criminal or whatever, or I would look at it like, oh, these some sweet licks. You know what I'm saying? You
Right.
would think that they're not even from America. They gullible. They don't know what's going on right. They in a strange foreign land. You would think that, hey man, these some sweet licks. They didn't get touched, bro.
Yeah.
They ain't get touched. Them same YNs in Atlanta during because Atlanta had the World Cup. They didn't mess with them white people out there.
Yeah.
Them foreign people, them, what I'm saying, the Europeans or whatever. Hell, it was people from all over. They didn't touch them, bro. They
Hmm.
didn't touch them. You didn't hear one incident.
No, no, you did it. And now that no, that yeah, you got a point. You got a point. You definitely got a point. And this is something I want to ask you too, bro. Like, if William was truly killed over a baseball hat, what does that say about a culture in which protecting gang symbols becomes more important than protecting a young black man's life?
I mean, even what I'm saying, when it comes to that situation, I don't know the full details. We probably might
Right.
not I might not even know the full context of it. We might not ever know. Um, but if it truly was over that, I mean, it's just again a part of our culture, man. These
Yeah.
I always saw that gang culture shit, which like I'm from Louisiana, we don't really have gangs per se. It's just kind of like dudes outside, if that makes sense.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
um,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I always thought that shit was stupid. You got a bunch of or like the O Block, the Chicago stuff.
Hmm.
Um, you got a bunch of guys that are holding down these blocks, these neighborhoods, these streets, and they don't own nothing on the street. You know what I'm saying? Like if you was gonna bang, at least like y'all don't own no apartment complexes on the street, no houses, no businesses, no nothing that's actually gonna pour back into the communities that you protecting or repping or whatnot. It- y'all don't own nothing on these streets. It belongs to
Right.
that white man that y'all can't stand so much. And we're taking lives, and I mean, hell, that whole Chirac era, you done took out a whole generation of young men because of you
Yeah,
know what
got
I'm
a
saying? A
point.
whole generation of young men are just gone.
Yeah, yeah, and that's why I said it's a hidden motive, bro. Like, and I ain't trying to make no excuses, and tell me if I am or not, but
No,
I
you
feel
good.
like it's a hidden motive with the media, with the music to keep black people like disubobulated. You, 'cause when you really think about it, I'm not using that as
Oh,
excuse though,
yeah, yeah. I
because
got you.
so I'm going to give a better explanation. So
Yeah,
the media, this is who you look up to, and black people put these entertainers on high pedestals
yeah,
because at home they don't have a positive role model. You know what I'm saying? So now they listen to the music. Now they trying to be what their favorite rapper is doing. Now it causing their lives. You don't see that with white people. I mean, I'm pretty sure white people got their problems where they go shoot up
yeah.
schools
They
shit
got
like
that. Yeah,
that. But it's more. It's like this is our leaders. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just crazy, and I feel like it's a hidden motive because I don't know. Like I do know. I'm trying to come up with the right words. I believe just to bring separation. Is it because they don't want no unity in the in the black community? My opinion. But I know you want to say something. Go ahead.
nah, yeah. I mean, it's kind of like, and I've talked about this before. They can only take advantage of what we allow them to take advantage of. You know what
Oh,
I'm saying? Like, for instance, everybody, when I talk about the education, or the lack thereof in our community, everybody
hmm,
wants to bring up school to prison pipeline. It's like it's the big bad boogeyman. But um, when I've had educators and teachers and stuff on my lives, they always go back to the parents. The parents won't even, like, especially with the younger. I brought elementary educators, middle school, high school, even college professors. But they always go back to the parents, especially the younger ones, right?
right.
And how they have so much issue with the parents being involved, or black parents being so involved in their children's education. We all, they bring up the school to prison pipeline, but most of the way that they dictate their, the cots for the prison, if an analogy, is they go off of the third grade reading level. So by around 8 years old, that's where they determine if that child will end up in that jail, or
Mm,
going off the you know what I'm saying.
okay.
So, and we also know the statistics behind, if you just read to your child for 15 to 30 minutes a day, that it can decrease the literacy rate of that said child. But then you have parents who won't even read to the child, stick an iPad. And then even that, iPads aren't necessarily inherently bad, but all they do is play Roblox and watch YouTube on it. They're not even doing anything educational to expand their learning.
Right.
So you're not investing in your child's education, but you expect that system that is quote unquote against you to invest in your child.
Mm,
So by the time your child gets to that third grade, you have these teachers. That's I said. Everybody who complains about stuff like that, go talk to the teachers, because the teachers are going to tell the truth. What you gonna say? The teachers are racist and part of the system too?
right.
The teacher's gonna tell the truth. They're calling the parents. They don't, but when they get the report cards, or it's the end of the year and their child gets that failed, letter in the mail. Now you can get a hold of the parent. Now the parent is up there front and center, fussing and cussing at the teacher like it's their fault.
Right.
So, but that prison system can't take advantage of your child if you're ensuring that your child is prepared, or you're just as invested in your child's education as the system is. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
the parents. I mean, the child's first teacher is the parent.
Facts. I agree.
So you can't blame the system if you literally are just giving your child to that system.
Yeah, man, and it's just a generation curse, bro. Like their parents did it to them, so now it's just a domino effect. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause it wasn't no one wasn't. They just don't know. People don't know what it's like to have a positive male figure. That's why it's important for men knowing how to be a man, knowing how to be a leader. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah. So even with that though, like,
mhm,
at some point, us as adults can't use generational, like, I was taught a certain way, and I knew like because like I use my grandparents for example. They might not
Okay.
have known about the stock market, right? They didn't know about credit or building, credit scores and IRA Roths and stuff like that. They didn't know anything about that. But the one thing they did know or taught me about, financial literacy, if you will, was the simple fact of don't let money burn a hole in your pocket. You know what I'm saying? Don't spend
Okay.
all your money up. You know what I'm saying? Keep your money in your pocket. I mean, we talk about financial literacy all the time in our community as something that we need to break as far as generational curses. But I mean, when you really think about it, that's the basis of it.
Right.
Don't spend all, have be disciplined with the money you make.
I agree.
So if you we all, I mean, for the most part, I would think that we know right from wrong and we know the basics. So at least you, even if you don't know the intricacies of said thing, whether it's investing, whether it's parenting, whatever it may be, you know, or you should know that you can learn in spite of, and then go seek that information out to then educate yourself.
Right.
Like there are things that I got taught growing up that I could use with my own children, for example, that I could say, I don't know no better, or that's just what I was taught. But I was once a kid too, so I know how like how it made me feel when I was that child getting my ass whooped, or what I'm saying, whatever the case may be. And now here I am as a parent with said children. Do I want my child to feel that way? Well, nah, I don't want my child to feel that way because I knew how that made me feel. So at the bare minimum, I know I didn't like how I felt when it got done to me. So what can I do to be the opposite of that? And
Yeah.
once I ask myself that question, now I can then seek out the information to break the
Okay.
generational curse. You know what I'm saying?
No, no, that's wisdom right there. No,
Yeah.
no, no, no. You speaking free game. And speaking of children, um,
Yeah.
so at the beginning, I mentioned how I came across your content, and
Yeah.
one of my first videos that I saw of you speaking about the Carmelo Anthony situation,
Okay.
and you urged that instead of holding him accountable, a lot of people, not urge. I'm sorry, I'm saying that shit. I'm saying it all wrong. Um, you argue about Carmelo Anthony that people is not holding him accountable. You know, 'cause people are just immediately defending him and excusing his actions. Why do you think that?
Cause they cause they just want to see a black man get off for killing a white boy. That that's
Mm,
that's that's really what it is. They just not gonna say that. But that's really what it was. Because the very same situation happened in an instance in Kentucky where they was around the same age, and the one of the young boys and he they were in their mother's house.
yeah.
I don't know if the other guy was living with them or staying with them, but it was something along the lines of he was in the house sleeping on the couch. The other boy came in and told him, "Hey man, get off my couch like that. My mama said you can't sleep on the couch." They get to tussling. The boy who was sleep on the couch stabs him after he got hit first. And then he stabs him, runs out the house, and the other boy, both of them were black, he died. And he got sentenced to more time than Carmelo did for killing another black man. Nobody cared about that.
Mm,
But they just want to see a black boy get off a kick, because you got to think about what just happened prior to Carmelo. The
okay.
Rick Child. I think it was something else too. Something else happened before that. But I mean, they just want to see a black man get off for killing a white boy.
I can see why you. I can see. I can see why you say that, because a lot of blacks, just playing devil's advocate, a lot of blacks feel that, and if you want to comment on this, please feel free.
Yeah,
A
yeah, yeah,
lot of blacks feel like we've been done so wrong, slavery happened, and we've been, you know, not getting a fair justice with the Trayvon Martin, with George
yeah.
Floyd, and all those things. So now there's a moment where, okay, we can get justice now. We can see a black man getting let off from killing a white man. You know what I'm saying? And
Yes.
I believe that's what's really going on.
Now, but see, those the situation, and that was the problem. Everybody was mixing all of the issues, like
Yeah,
Tamir Rice, Trayvon Martin, George Floyd, or Sandra Bland. Those were instances where that was wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like I completely can get behind those, and I was behind those situations. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
This was not that. This Carmelo Anthony was not a part of those situations. That like, but that's what they tried to turn it into, so
Mm,
that they could justify or not come off as you know ill-willed for simply we just wanted one. But it's like those were instances where those people were done wrong.
all
This
right,
was not that situation. Like, had he whooped that boy ass and like he fell down the bleachers and bumped his head and accidentally passed away, I would have had no harm in that.
all right.
No, but it's like that, like the little boy like killed somebody,
Mhm. Yeah,
unnecessarily killed somebody,
yeah.
and I just I just did not feel that that was the situation that black people as a whole should have rallied behind to defend. Because now that the information has come out about his past, motherfucker was crazy. you know,
I
you
get it. I
know,
get it. And you said something that caught me off guard about
yeah,
Carmelo Anthony. You also said Carmelo was a victim of the mentality and culture he was raised around. What
yeah.
do you mean by that? I need you to explain that.
So one of the when I was going back and forth with people when it all first happened, one of the biggest things that I continuously saw pop up as far
Yeah,
as responses from people in our community was, "Oh well, I'm a stand on business. He shouldn't have put his hands on me." Even Carmelo said that to the officer,
right.
and it's like that mentality is taught in our community growing up. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure a lot of us have heard that. A lot of us who've been out on the club. Well, I'm 30, 33, so I was able to hit the club scene back in the day. And back then it was, you could, we all would talk, there's always the stigma of like you bumping into somebody in the club, they spill a drink, now
Oh
everybody's
yeah.
shooting, or you step on his shoes and now he
Yeah.
got to shoot the
Yeah.
whole club. But where does that stem from? Oh, I got to stand on business. You disrespecting. It probably could, and that could probably be the reason why Buddy lost his life with the hat. You know what I'm saying? Like the stand on business mentality, or you ain't gonna disrespect me, or you ain't gonna put your hands on me. Like that mentality is taught to us at such a young age, and in our culture, that we think that that's okay to carry on into adulthood, and that's not how the real world
Mm,
works. You cannot,
mm,
especially for black people, specifically even more black men, we do not, especially as black men, we do not get to, right or wrong, we do not get the same rules as them or everybody else. Even the same rules as black women. We can't get away with a lot of things. So knowing that as a fact, you
yeah.
have to move accordingly if you want to get somewhere and not end up a statistic in jail or in the dirt. You know what I'm saying? And a lot, like you said earlier, a lot of us don't grow with that male mentorship or male figure in our life to hold us accountable to that standard or to that fact. You know what I'm saying? So the first time that a lot of our young men get that accountability is out in the real world. And
Right.
like I always say, the if you don't teach your children and hold your children accountable, you don't have to. But somebody will, and it's gonna be outside them four walls. If the world got to teach your child or hold your child accountable, it's gonna come with a price. It's gonna cost them.
Hmm.
So
No,
either
no,
you can
yeah.
teach them for free, or it's gonna cost them when the world has to teach them.
No, yeah, yeah, yeah. You got a point. You definitely got a point. But then when people hear you say that, then they just bring up,
yeah.
they bring up what happened with slavery. They bring up all these different things, and if people and when people, because you're not the first person that I interview about the Carmelo Anthony case.
Okay.
A lot of people was kind of feeling like I was on Austin Metcalf's side, and I'm on the side of right. You know what I'm saying? Right or right is right, wrong is wrong. You know what I'm saying?
And they thought the same of me, but because they didn't even hear what I said. And I was
Right.
like, in that situation, both of those young men were wrong.
I agree.
And both young men were held accountable. Austin should have kept his hands to himself and should have got a teacher or got a coach or whatever, but he didn't. He chose to engage. Now he's dead. That's his accountability. And Carmelo could have either fought back and just took an ass whooping or whooped some ass, or he could have walked away. He didn't. He chose to kill somebody. Now he's in jail for 35 years. That's
Mm,
his accountability.
mhm.
Everybody was held accountable in this situation. Period, point blank. Our young, keep your hands to yourself. Austin didn't. He's dead. Carmelo didn't. He's in jail. But they missed that part. They didn't hear that
Yeah,
when I said
yeah.
it.
Because it's all because, like I said, when black get to hearing race, the emotions get to drilling in. Then they get all emotional and then got to bring up. And like, come on, man. Especially, man, black. This is crazy. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
man.
And it's crazy because you consider Carmelo Anthony as a psychotic, cold-blooded killer.
I
and,
had to put a little dressing on there. Yeah.
and partly based on his alleged messages and his behavior history. But when people bring up Austin alleged racist behavior, you argue that it doesn't justify what happened. Why should Carmelo past shape how we view his character, while Austin past shouldn't shape how people view him?
I didn't. So I'm not saying that. Um, I mean, because just because somebody, let me. It's to be expected. I mean, I grew up in Louisiana,
Okay.
so I went to school with these type of white boys. You know what I'm saying? And we all know the them white folks, especially them little white boys. They done said some race. I mean, we all play video games. We know how they get.
Right, I agree.
That mean they gotta die. you know. Um. So as far as Carmelo's past, now again, had he just whooped his ass, I wouldn't care about his past, you know. But he killed him. So now it's like we gotta look into, because they painted it like he was just, well raised young man, stayed
Mhm.
out of trouble, didn't do anything. He just got caught up in the moment, defended himself. But now it comes out that he stayed in trouble. He went to, the anger management or whatever the school was at LSU that his parents put him in for being violent and not keeping his hands to himself. The text messages, he talked about killing somebody. I mean, stabbing somebody
Yeah,
and licking the blood off. Like, that's some crazy ass shit. Like that just that
yeah,
that's I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like it's like some King Von shit, when they start getting into his past and start explaining why, this shit he was doing as a kid. You like, damn, I see why he was a crazy serial killer. I
yeah.
mean, again, had he just whooped the boy ass, I would have had no issue with that, bro. No,
I can see
zero
that.
issue.
But I can see why you call him that. Like I can see why, because based off the evidence and
That's some
so it's just
crazy
like,
shit, ain't it?
yeah, it is crazy. That's why I came and knocked you for it. It did call me off guard. 'Cause like, damn, I ain't even thought about it. I ain't
Licking
looked
the
at it that
blood off
way.
the knife is wild, bro.
Very wild, very wild. And so, how do you respond when people be like, okay, you answers already. I don't want to ask you the same question, but you know, the I'm gonna be straightforward because I don't want people to think
Yeah,
that I'm team Austin Metcalf. I'm not. It's just they both is in the wrong. We already established that, right?
yeah.
But part of kind of bothering me about this situation is that, like, well, he deserved it because of Austin Metcalf past or his bad decision, and these are kids, right? And what I want to ask you is about Austin Metcalf, like, you think people just justifying the situation, or you think they just trying to understand the case better?
Honestly, bro, I think that people are just trying to do to Austin what white people do to a lot of the black people who, get killed by police or whatnot. They try to bring up the past to,
Mm,
justify what happened or, whatnot. Um, I think that it's just kind of like a petty back and forth tactic. You know what I'm saying?
right,
They
right.
just trying to do to them what they do to us. You know what I'm saying? I think that's kind of just what it is.
I see what you saying. It just like the tables to turn now. Now,
Yeah.
I get it. I get it. And as a father, how would you have wanted Carmelo to handle that situation once Austin allegedly put his hands on him, especially after Carmelo already warned him not to touch him?
See, and that's another thing that I talked about that everybody ignored when I said, I was like, if my son, first of all, if my son did that, I'm not defending him in that situation because number one, I don't teach my child to walk around like I worked my ass off too hard to put you in an environment where you don't have to walk around with something like a knife in your fucking backpack. Where we live and the schools they go to, that's not allowed. You don't come from that type of background. You don't know that kind of life. So what are you doing? That would be the
Right,
first thing I would even ask my son. Like, what the fuck are you doing carrying around a fucking knife? Like,
right.
you grew up in the suburbs. That's all you know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So that would be my first thing. Number two would be why the fuck are you like I teach my sons accountability. You know what I'm saying? And no matter the right or wrong, when you make a choice or a decision, you have to stand behind that as a man, period, point blank. Right, wrong, or indifferent. You make that choice, consequences will happen, whether they're
right,
good or bad. So if my son would have chose to do some dumbass shit like that, hey son, I love you, but that's not something me and your mother taught you to even do. You don't know
right.
that life. You know what I'm saying? So, but you made that choice and now you have to live with it. I'm gonna support you. I'm gonna be here for you. I ain't gonna leave you hanging, but you gotta eat that.
Yeah,
And that's
I'm fine.
something that his parents you never heard anything like that come out of his parents' mouth.
Mm,
So that's how I drew the conclusion that the reason why he acted like that is because they allowed him to act. They taught him that.
right. You got a point. You got a point. And one thing I can respect about Austin Metcalf's father was he immediately said this is not a race thing. But people
Yeah,
was pushing it to be a race thing. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And yeah, bro. And it's funny that you say you raising your sons to be, stand up men. Basically, hold them. You hold them accountable and teach them the right way.
I
But
try.
yeah, but it's funny that you said that because you responded to a white TikTok creator named Jason Smith who said
Oh,
you were
that public enemy dude.
yeah yeah yeah
I think
yeah.
that's yeah. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So and he stated that you raising your boys to be pussies because you teaching your sons to walk away from certain confrontations.
Yeah.
What did you think when you heard him say that?
I mean, honestly, I didn't think too much about him. The disappointment, or not only say disappointment. The sad part about it was the black people that sided with him simply because they don't like me. And that was the comical part behind it, which is why I don't subscribe to that unity in the black community shit
Mm,
because that's a fallacy. It's a fairy tale. That shit don't exist, never has. Um, but I mean, I would say there's no real unity amongst people as a whole.
I agree
It's
to that.
just, I would say other cultures will unite against niggas, but but when it come down to it, it's every man for himself. But it was just comical to see black people defend him,
Yeah, I see that.
especially a lot of the black women who probably have black sons, because, like I stated earlier, the system is already, you know, rigged or not in our favor, and this stand on business mentality is only gonna have your sons become a statistic. And it's not that I'm teaching my sons to be, what he said, pussy, is to teach my sons discernment, to teach them to pick their battles, to know when something requires a reaction, because not everything requires a reaction, especially as a black man. You have to be smarter than that, or you gonna let them crackers trick you out of your spot. And you can't do that. You have to be smart. So on one end, they'll say, "Oh, as black people, we better, we this and we that, and so we're so much better than them." Then you should know, like you should carry yourself in the manner of such. You shouldn't be stooping down to their level. Well, they
Mhm.
get to do it. Okay, let them do it. What's our standard as a people? So we got to be grimy because they can walk around and be grimy and get away with it. Nah, we don't have to. We don't have to do that. If we better than them, be better than them in all shape, fashion, and form.
Man, you cooking. I agree 100%. But the thing is that, and couple things I want to say.
Yeah, yeah,
I used to be like that at one point. Used to go off my emotions. My dad,
yeah. A lot of us are.
yeah, and
Word.
yeah, and then my dad, he was alive. He used to tell me, you act like a woman. You be going off your emotions. And I was a kid. I didn't understand it, but as I got older, I understand where you
Yeah,
coming from now. And watching your clip, you didn't say nothing wrong, because that made me a fan of your content, because you said something that stuck out. And one of the things you said was, the system is not for us. So you have to carry yourself a certain way. You know what I'm saying? You ain't say it that way, but
yeah, yeah,
basically, you
yeah.
know what I'm saying? And I'm like, bro, I'm like, yes, I agree 100% with that. And um, damn, I lost my train of thought. What I wanted to ask you. Oh, I know now. It seemed like men be viewed, they feel like it's weak to walk away. I don't want to look like a punk. Oh man, I
That
gotta
ego
why is that?
is that ego, bro. It's that ego, and then that's
Mm,
the funny thing because there because I talk about being strategic. It don't mean like you said, I used to be that guy too.
right.
My younger, like I was in the military, so my younger years, and I talked about that. I'm like, if I would have got rid of that real nigga mentality a lot sooner in my
Yeah.
life, I
Mhm.
would have got a lot further ahead. Instead of it clicking when I was 26, 27, 28 years old. If I would have had the mentality I have now back when I was 19, 20, 21 years old, I would have had a head start in life to do, to accelerate that success that I'm starting to, achieve now in my life. But that real niggas mentality or standing on business, that ego, I gotta be a real nigga all the time. Like, but that number one, that shit is exhausting.
Yeah, it
It's
is, bro.
exhausting to carry, thinking that everybody is against you and
You
you
gotta
got to
prove
do it
yourself
on
every
your
time.
own. Dog, it's exhausting. So the minute you realize and you kind of it's kind of like a lot of, how do I say it? A lot of that black empowerment shit is really a burden on your shoulders at like the spit. I don't want to talk about the women. It's black as a black man because it handicaps you in a sense.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you can't be proud to be, because you know how people get. I'm not saying don't be proud to be black or embrace your blackness, but to pigeonhole yourself into thinking you got to be like this down brother man like 24/7 is such is so it's such a handicap to your life, because when you really think about it, bro, a lot like, and you said it earlier, the media does a good job of making these things seem bigger than what they are. And I'm not saying they don't exist, but they make it seem bigger than what they are. So our people will hyperfixate on it and stay stuck on it instead of being progressive and bettering their lives. And it oftentimes makes us as black men be handicapped and stay stagnant because
Right.
it doesn't allow us to network.
Mm.
It doesn't allow us to seek out help or assistance. And we go throughout life with this real nigga, I can do it all myself. And that burden, that's what I mean by that burden, because you don't trust nobody.
Right.
Um and you can't do this shit on your own, bro. Life is too hard to be doing it on your own.
I agree.
And you'll not saying you there are exceptions where, some people are self-made. I guess I would, maybe there are, but the the common rule of thumb is you need people. So
Mhm.
if you just want to stay stuck thinking everybody's against you, especially white folks and every other race, I mean, you only gonna get so far, especially in a world or a country that we're not in control of anything, per
I
se.
agree. No, I definitely agree.
That's why they
Yeah,
say play the game, learn how to play the game.
yeah. But I was talking to Imma say I was talking to my little brother about that. It's just life
Yeah,
is a game. You gotta learn how to play. You gotta learn how to adapt. You know what I mean? Because
yeah,
sometimes one thing I learned about people in general is that, like, people gonna do things to get a reaction out of you.
yeah. Oh
Cause,
yeah,
cause, cause certain people look at you and feel you don't deserve that position. Like I believe, I'm sure every black person encounter a racist individual.
yeah,
I have. I'm pretty sure you have. 'Cause you from Louisiana.
yeah. That's
So it's just
everyday
like
thing.
like people gonna do things to get a reaction, so they could trick you out your spot. Now it's just white people, just people in general, and you got to just learn, like you just said, you got to just learn how to play the game. And also, I want to pivot too, um, because a lot of blacks was excited and they feel like they just won $1 million. But what I want to ask you is that there's been a lot of discussion about Judge Roach being removed further proceedings. What do
Yeah.
you believe people must understand about why he was removed? And does his removal change anything about how you view the original case?
No, I mean, what believe, correct me if I'm wrong, they just removed him because they felt like it was a conflict due to his post case interview that he did.
Yeah.
Um, and they just removed him because they felt like it would be, I guess compromising for the potential retrial. So I mean, and that's fair. That's fair. But they just
Okay.
got a new. All they did was get a new judge. If I, if I'm correct, if I believe that I read it right, they're just appointing a new judge
Okay.
to make sure that everything is, copacetic. So I mean, the new judge could be worse.
Yeah. Very true.
Because if the new judge, I mean, because if the old judge saw the information, because I'm pretty sure they have to present it to the judge. So if the judge saw those text messages about Karmelo, and then he gave the jury, the ability or the governing power to sentence him, because the judge could have sentenced him, but he gave it to the jury, knowing the jury didn't even know that information. So he got his 35 from the jury, and they didn't know that information about him, but the judge
Mm,
did.
mm,
So I feel
right.
like that's a little grace.
I see. I see. And I know they got to make a decision Monday. So
Okay.
re-recording this before the decision so and what I want to ask is my bad. So re-recording this before the judge makes his decision on Carmelo request for a new trial. So do you believe Carmelo should be granted a new trial, and why or why not?
Bruh, no. I think what he got was more than fair,
Mm,
and the jury got it right, man. I mean, the boy he took somebody's life, period,
mhm,
point blank, in cold blood when it was unnecessary. Unnecessary. So, I mean, he did the crime. You got to do the time, man. Like that's just what it is. I don't think he need like because what a retrial for what? Like what are y'all what are you retrying? Like he was gonna get time regardless. So what y'all want less time? You want a lesser charge? Like,
yeah.
and then let's say he gets a lesser charge. Let's say he gets manslaughter. Now he got 15 years. Will you be will the black community be satisfied then? Or do you want him to get nothing because you believe he should have walked away free? And
Right.
that goes back to my point. You just wanted to see a black boy get off for killing a white boy.
So, but if he is granted a new child, a new trial, do you think it it helps him, or you think it'll backfire on him?
Well, I mean, it could backfire because we already got new information about his crazy ass text messages. So shit. Now
Yeah.
the new jury will know that. Now that opens the book for more time. Now you can get life. Then what?
Right.
Then what? Like, bro, you did it. Take your time and go and take your accountability for your actions, bro. Like, do your time. You get, and I think they said in Texas he get half time served if he good. Hey, bro, do your time, man. Do
Yeah.
your time. And you and but guess who? Guess who gonna be there when that parole here? When that time comes for him to possibly get out early.
Oh.
His old boy Metcalf brother and maybe the father if he's still here, but the brother's gonna be there. The family of Austin Metcalf will be there at that hearing. They're gonna have a big hand to play in whether or not Karmelo get out in that 17 years.
Mm.
But look how they did the father when he tried to, extend the olive branch. They asked the kids. Carmelo not once never took accountability for what he did. The family never took accountability for what their son did. So if he do potentially get that full 35 after this possible retrial, if he goes, he get that 35 when he tried to get that, early out hearing, you're gonna have to look that boy brother in his eyes and ask for forgiveness.
Yeah. No, no, no. You got a point, man. Yeah, that's it. Man, no, you got a point, man. And I agree. You got to take accountability. And like I said, a lot of blacks, and they gonna look at me like I'm a coon, but it is what it is. But it's just like sometimes, man, we gotta take accountability and look at ourselves in the mirror. You know what I'm saying? Like, no matter what you say, you can't justify somebody getting stabbed. Like,
It's especially when it's just like you can't sit here and play victim when you put yourself in this situation.
yeah,
You shouldn't even be there. You should be getting ready to, go off to college and live your life. But you wanted to bring a knife to school and stab a nigga.
right.
Like,
Yeah, no, no, you got a point. You got a point. And one of the things you mentioned in the conversation, and I want to say on topic, you mentioned about how black men need to learn how to navigate, in this world. You
yeah,
also spoke about the Nolan Xavier Wells situation. You argue that black parents have to prepare their sons for the world as it is and not as we wish it was. What do you
yeah.
mean by that?
Um, I mean, in short, live in reality. Um, or your son should be able, like, with that situation, your son should be able to go out safely with his white friends and party on a beach and come back home safely. He should. But we all know that's not reality. Women should be able to walk freely amongst themselves at nighttime in a city and not have to be harmed by some creepy man. They should be able to, but we know that's not reality. As a black man, I should be able to drive my car and not be harassed by police because I got a broken tail light, but that's not the reality. Like,
Right,
so you have to move about this world in reality and what it is and the potential harms that are out there. It's not saying live in this, live in a bubble, but just be prepared, be aware, keep your head on a swivel. And that could potentially come from my, Marine background, but it's like you
mhm,
would think that that's common sense to anybody, you know.
right,
Hell, I'm in college. Well, I was going to school at ODU, and I was taking night classes. So like one of my classes was at like 8:30 at night. And I'm walking around campus, during the wintertime, the sun go down early. 5 o'clock, it's dark. And so
yeah,
it's 8:30, or I'll get out of class. It was because it was a 2-hour class. I get out of class, it's damn near 10 o'clock at night. And I'm seeing, little white girls or just girls just walking around campus, headphones in, even some dudes, headphones in, hoodie up, down, face down in their phone. It's 10 o'clock at night. And it's like, And my trip, like somebody, you a easy lick. Somebody to come bop you upside the head and just
Right.
like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
not paying attention to anything, bro.
Yeah, times have changed, yeah.
I mean, shit, it's always been like that. They just be and and if something, not saying that something should happen to them, but it's like if something did happen, I'm like, I mean, what do you expect, bro? You not even aware of your surroundings. That situation like that is someone moving about the world in what it should be versus what it is. You should be able to walk around at 10 o'clock at night and not worry about nobody bopping you upside the head because you got your
Right.
headphones in or whatever. But that's like you just asking for it at that point.
Yeah. And you said something was kind of you said something was funny. Some people might look at it as ignorant, but you said Nolan should never been the only black person on that boat.
Fuck no.
Why do you believe being the only black person in a group can put someone at greater risk?
I mean, shit. Do you trust a bunch of white folks if you the only nigga in the group?
Kind
Because
of
this
question.
is why, bro. Like I said, I went to like hood schools all the way up to like my freshman year, and my high school was like, you ever seen the All American TV show?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of like how my high school was. Not Crenshaw, but the rich school he went to.
Yeah.
But
I don't know the
that's
name, but
how
they talking about.
Yeah, that's how Beverton or whatever it's called. But that's how my high school was. So it was like a culture shock to me. And that's how them white boys were. Like we was going to their lake houses, after football games, the party and shit like that. We was going, but we knew I'm not gonna be the token black kid. Like we all went as a group, we left as a group. Now there were a couple of black dudes at that time who was the tokens, and
Yeah.
they got treated as such. And every last one of them, now that we're all grown, now they back to being black people around black people. But
Yeah.
like it's kind of like it's equivalent. Like that situation is equivalent to like women who when women go out to the club or to enjoy nightlife, you don't let your homegirl go to the bathroom by herself. Hell, even as a man, I don't let my partners just go by themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like we come as a group, we leave as a group, you
Yep.
know? And it's kind of like that same mentality. Like I'm not going around. I don't care how long I know them white folk, but I'm not going around. I'm not gonna be the only black person in the room. Bro. I'm just not.
I'm gonna keep it real because I got a lot of good white friends.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I'm not being a yeah. And now it's
Yeah,
not it's
because because
I'm the
now
same way, I ain't gonna
I'm
lie.
putting my trust in you to take up for me as a black person amongst your people. Like, nah.
Right. Right.
We can have a mixed friend group, but I'm not gonna be the only black person, bro.
No, no,
I'm
no.
just
And,
not.
and you said something too that kind of like had me thinking. And I want to ask you because you said Nolan mother failed him. What do you think she should have taught him about being a young black man in a predominantly white spaces?
So when I made that initially, I didn't know that his pops was there because it was like when I first heard the story. So I didn't know his
Oh,
pops
okay.
pops was together. So that's why. But I mean, now that I know he had a pops, I'm like, shit, they both did. You know what I'm saying? But the reason why I say that is because they did not properly prepare him for the world as a black man. Like I told the story of my son when him and his partners was outside at like 11 o'clock at night, with their little white homegirls and shit from school. And I'm like, they were probably about 2 blocks up the street. So I had to go down there and get them. Cause I'm like, nah, man,
Right.
y'all come back to the house, man. Y'all can either y'all can come in the house, you can stay in the front yard, go in the backyard. I said, but y'all not about to be standing out in the middle of the street with a bunch of white girls. Y'all some big old 6 foot plus black boys. And and I was like, nah, y'all come on in the house, and they should be able to do that, but they can't. All it take is for they could be just horse playing around, and some
Yeah.
nosy white woman looking out her window thinks some black boys are attacking some little white girls. And when the police show up, they're not gonna ask, "Are y'all friends? Do you know these girls?" They're gonna be on 10, ready to come do what they do. And
Yeah.
that shit happened to me before.
Mm.
Uh, on my senior prom, we went to the lake after prom, and we was all in the parking lot just just bullshitting, chilling
Yeah.
and shit after the dance and stuff. And one of my partners, he black, but he mixed. He Italian and black,
Yeah.
but he lighter than me. And somebody that was some white lady at the park thought we was like we just joking around playing and shit. They called the police because they thought we was whooping his ass.
Dang.
So when they pulled up, you know what I'm saying, they on 10 and they was looking like, well, after they calmed down, you know, they was like, oh yeah, well, we got a call saying that a bunch of black kids were jumping on a little white boy. But they was looking around like, where the white boy?
Yeah.
And so he was like, and then we was like, my partner's like, they must have thought I was white. And he was like, probably, but it's like that little situation right there could have went totally left. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because they
I
could have
get it.
came in on 10.
So I wanna ask, so how can you how do you teach a black child to be cautious without making them afraid to build genuine relationships with people outside of their race? Because you just said, having to, can't be the only white person in the group. So make a person like them, like, you know what I'm saying?
Um, you just be real with them. I would say, like, be honest.
Yeah.
Not saying you can't trust your partner, but and because it is some white boys out there that really will ride for you, but it's like I'm not about like unless you've been in that type of situation with him. I'm not about to. I wouldn't tell my child to put himself in the situation to find out.
Right. But okay, well, I'm gonna give you some pushback, right? So let's
Yeah.
say you hang out. So you saying if you, hang around, was you the only black person in the white group? Because something crazy can happen, right? Okay, how do you respond with what if you with all black people where they may be doing certain things they shouldn't be doing, then it gets you in the mess. You know what I'm saying?
So with the being I answer both. So with being
Okay.
a better answer for the being the like token black dude, it's not necessarily your friends, it's the environment, the white space y'all are going into.
Okay.
And you don't really have I don't trust all white spaces enough to put myself like I wouldn't even put that on my white partners to try
Yeah.
to have to, you know what I'm saying? Like to have to be that barrier for me in a white space like that. You know what I'm saying? Where cause it's like, cause I feel like you gotta be a certain type of black dude to even be the only so like you ain't got no type of diversity in your friend circle. And then it's
Right.
like you don't have no type of diversity in the spaces you go to. Like you were the only black dude, all your friends white, and then the spaces that y'all go to, everybody white.
Yeah.
That's more like, all right, bro.
I got okay. Okay. You got a point. You got a
But
point.
as far as like being in an all black space, I would shit, I don't trust them niggas either. But I say I feel more comfortable
Right.
being in an all black space. Not saying I trust, I like, because it all boils down to your character, you know what I'm saying? But it's just as I feel more comfortable navigating
Mhm.
all black space versus being the token black in an all white space. I could be comfortable in that too. I just
Right.
don't feel like it.
No, no, no. I definitely understand. And preferably, and then we're gonna pivot. There's a couple last questions before we wrap it up.
Yeah,
One
yeah,
of the
yeah.
things that caught my attention is about um going no contact with your parents,
Yeah,
and you also been very open about your own relationship with the generation that raised you,
yeah.
and you talked about how a lot of people our age have complicated or distant relationship with their parents. Why do you think that becomes so common?
Mm. Um, from my own personal observation, it's it's more so. I mean, I just think that niggas kind of just tired of dealing with their parents, man. Um, the constant because a lot of us who have that issue, like because their pushback will be, well, y'all be calling me because you need some money. Like I don't call. I've never needed anything from my parents once I left their house. Actually, like once I started working,
Yeah,
but because they were the type that are gonna throw it back in your face or hold it over your head. And I don't accept that from anybody, let
okay,
alone my own
right.
parents. So that's why I left as soon as I graduated. I was gone. Like my pops had to sign the paper for me to join the military.
Mm,
I was 17 when I graduated because I had to get the fuck on. So I just think a lot of us are just tired of the gaslighting or the lack of accountability from them or emotional availability. Because a lot of the guys and guys that I talk to about it, they're not asking their parents for no money. They're not asking their parents for, to help them take care of their bills or their kids. It's like, damn, bro, we just want you to be something like active grandparents. Be in your grandkids' life. Call them on, pick up
yeah,
the phone and talk to them. Take them out for because I was very close with my grandparents. Like I had a really great relationship with my grandparents, and I wanted that for my children, but
hmm,
I ain't getting that. So it's like a lot of us are asking our parents to like for emotional stuff, and we're not getting that. And that becomes draining because if I'm not getting anything from you financially or materialistically, then I'm not getting anything from you emotionally or
yeah.
spiritually. It's like, what am I really doing here? And you
So,
and someone asked me the question like, would you like your parents as a person if they weren't your parents?
mm,
Like if you remove that title, mom and dad, from that person, they were just a person you met in the street or dealt with at work or outside, would you even like them? And that the answer to that question will probably answer why a lot of people just say, you know what, I'm washing my hands of this.
yeah, yeah, you got a point, and I do want to ask, why does parents make it so difficult to take accountability?
Um, Me personally, I believe because number one, that I call it that old nigga pride
Right.
and that ego. And because a lot of them, and like I said, especially like from my own personal situation, they still look at you like you're the child. And we all, a lot of us grew up similarly where it's like
Yeah.
you don't disrespect, like you just speaking up for yourself or having a thought or an opinion that's against theirs was disrespect. Like you ain't gonna
Right.
disrespect me. That it was just like do what I say and shut up. And
Yeah.
so now we're grown, we're adults, and they're getting pushback from us because we're adults now. I'm not your child. I'm your child, but I'm not a child. So, excuse me, now you're getting pushback and you have to like, and instead of treating me like an adult, they still look at you as a child. And so they can dismiss what you're saying so they don't have to take that accountability. They just dismiss it as, well, you ain't gonna talk to me like that. You still my
Right.
child. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, but motherfucker, I'm a grown ass man now. Like treat me with that respect.
Yeah.
So and that's why I think they'll just kind of dodge that accountability aspect because they can dismiss you and your opinion or what you're bringing to them
Right.
as disrespect, just like when we were children.
I agree. I agree. And if parents want to know how they were as parents, their kids gonna, you will know when your kids get older. And
Yeah.
one and I've been in them situations, and it took me a long time to forgive my parents. But something my dad stuck with me is that no book was given to them on how to be a parent. And secondly, you know, I feel like a lot of people be held. They allowed their dysfunctional relationship with their parents to hold them back. Because honestly, bro, what helped me forgive my parents, and I ain't gonna take over the
Yeah,
conversation,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah. Nah, you good.
but your parents was once your parents was you at one point. They have no kids.
Right.
They try to figure things out. They probably was dealing with all types of stuff. Then they end up having you. So they go about things that what they know. And unfortunately, it caused you some trauma. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But me knowing that I'm not saying you gotta accept their BS, but it kind of helped me to accept certain situations. But also still, hold them accountable.
Yeah,
You know what I
that
mean?
works when your parents can like because with with me, I told them straight up, hey man, me and your situation, it is what it is. Like I didn't grow up being like, hey pops, let's go shoot some hoops and
Right, right,
talk
right,
about
right.
what I like. He was old school. I go to work, pay the bill, do what I say. Shut up, little nigga.
Yeah.
He taught me the basics of what it meant to be a man. But as far as like that emotional connection, my daddy couldn't tell you nothing that I like. He don't know nothing about me. Um, and I wasn't trying to get anything out of him. I wasn't asking for anything different because I accepted, like what you just said. I accepted that. I was willing to give that up and
Right.
take our relationship for what it is. I said, bro, just be better for your grandkids. Just show, like, use me and your relationship is what it is, but be like, what you did wrong with me. Just be better to them. You know
Facts.
what I'm
I feel
saying?
that,
That go
bro.
back to my point earlier when I said that yeah, you might know they didn't have the handbook, but if you can take accountability and say, you know what, I did fuck up with you, and a lot of people, and the funny thing is, a lot of people who parents do take that accountability and be better for their grandchildren. We make the joke like, man, people will make videos on TikTok and be like, oh man, like you ain't have McDonald's money for me, but you got McDonald's money for your
Yeah.
grandbabies. You know what I'm saying? But when you think about it, it's like that's what you want. I feel like that's accountability coming from them. Like,
Mm.
yeah, I fucked up with you. We can be better for where we are now in your life. But at least the least I can do is be better to my grandchildren.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like that is what a lot of us do ask for. When we do have those kids, um, but we don't get. Or the people who don't have kids, what they want from those parents is to not necessarily change who they are, but it's like just 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 actively try to be better for where we are now. You know what I'm
I feel
saying?
that. Nah, man, I feel like that. Not to be a religious or nothing like that, man. It's a spiritual thing too. Everything's all
Yeah,
spiritual. You know what I mean? And if your parents spiritually is not right, they can't be good parents, especially when they get older. Cause all that
yeah,
shit, yeah, you know what I mean? Especially with the gaslighting, them being narcissistic and trying to manipulate the situation and things like
yeah,
that. And this is my two last questions, and then we're gonna wrap it up.
yeah.
When do you believe going no contact with a parent is justified? Because I remember you made a clip and you got criticized from this one guy. I forgot his freaking name, but yeah, you got
It's an angry man or something like that. I
yeah,
think.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah, some old washed up, anyways. But you
yeah.
said when is it justified?
Yeah,
Um, I mean, for whatever that person individual believes is their justification for it. I mean, we all got different situations and we're all different and we all have different breaking points with our parents. Like mine, it was shit. I mean, it was years of trying to, get somewhere and it just got to a point where it was when it started like taking away from my household, like taking energy and finances and time and stuff away from my household, that's when it became like, all right, man, what am I doing?
right,
I'm doing too much and you're not doing enough. So it's what what is this how is this benefiting you? And
right,
again, you ask yourself the question like, I wouldn't let nobody else play with me like this. And here you are playing with me like this. Parent or not, it's like you really playing with me. You playing on my top. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't let no nigga on the street do that shit to me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't let nobody out there play with me and play with my family or whatever. And here you are playing with me. So it's like it just came to a point where it's like, you got it. You got it. I'm not washing my hands of this. It is what it is. Like again, when if you're in a situation where you still need your parents, that then you can't go no kind.
Yeah.
But I don't if you're not in a position of needing your parents for anything, then I just wash my hands of it. It is what it is.
Agreed.
When you get your life together, I'll be here. But
Yeah.
until then,
And don't know context with your parents is not bad, especially if you're not feeling valued, not feeling respected, because your
yeah,
absence is your man. You know, a no response is more louder than words. Your
yeah,
presence, you know what I'm saying? Especially, and bro, we all adults. People know. People know, like, yeah, I was wrong, but
yeah.
yeah, they know. But sometimes it's hard
Yeah,
for
they know
people.
because they act like because they get to talking to your siblings and your friends and
Yeah.
other family members back home. But it's like you can talk to them, but you can't talk to me. You can tell them this shit, but you can't talk to me and tell me this shit. And I'm like, all right, bro, you got
But you know what? I can
it.
tell you why though. It's that guilt. Like, it's really like I see you. Just conversating with you. You know what I'm saying? And this is my impression of you. You seem like the type of guy that you have no problem admitting like y'all fucked up.
Yeah,
A lot of people can't do that. It's really hard for people. Somebody, a wise man told me this. It's really hard for people to sit in the hot seat because you know what I'm saying. So it may be easy for you to do it, but it can be a real challenge because
it wasn't always like that.
yeah, but I mean,
It
at least
wasn't
you got
always
to that
like that.
point, though. At least you got to that point.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So kudos to you because a lot of people, bro, they be like, your parents actually 60, 50 years old, still stuck in their ways. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So that's why I say that's why I don't even
But
be mad at certain
you know
stuff.
how I got to that point though. It was my own, my family, like my wife and my kids, man. My family made me grow as a man.
Mm,
Because I would like those situations you explained, like with our parents, they didn't have a handbook and they just, did the best they could, right? And here
right.
I am as a husband, as a parent, and I was finding myself in these very same situations, as time went on, that was gonna test my parenting or test my patience or just my manhood, stuff like that, my fatherhood. And and what I always came back to was how because like off rip, especially like in my early years of parenting, I was just doing what I got, what God did to me because that's easy. It's
Right.
easy to whoop ass and fuss and be that hard parent that our parents typically are to us. But then I saw how my kids were reacting or how I felt doing it. And I'm like, this ain't me. I'm
Hmm.
just doing what I was taught. You know what I'm saying? I'm just doing what I saw because it's easy. Because
Right.
that's no effort. Because it like, but in my core, I'm like, this is not how I want to be as a father. This doesn't even feel natural to me. So I had to ask myself, like, what can I do differently? And then it was what also like pushed me into that direction was how did I feel when that got done to me as a kid?
Hmm.
That was really what always like, especially with my children, like that's always like that driving factor to my fatherhood is how did I feel when XYZ got done to me? And so I'm like, well, what can I do differently? But then when I figure out what can I do differently, how do I do that difference and balance it with, you know, a,
Hmm.
you know, finding balance between, because you can't overcorrect. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
just finding that balance so I don't overcorrect because I got did a certain way and I didn't feel, but to some extent, some of those things our parents might have been doing was needed. They just went to the extreme with it. You know what I'm saying?
I agree to that
So it
shit,
was
bro.
kind of like finding that balance and not overcorrecting because of childhood traumas. So, but
Yeah.
those were like the two things that kind of really pushed me into that direction to being better and taking that self accountability with my own faults to be better.
Right, right, right. And then now that's dope because accountability is growth. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? And you know, I think if you able to learn how to take accountability, you could be a better person. And this is my last question for you because because
yeah.
we've been mentioning a lot about accountability. For those who struggle with accountability, and you know, what's your message to them?
um, I mean, if you struggle with it, man, it's tough. Because on one end, I feel like if you a person that struggle with it, then you just kind of a lost cause.
Right, 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 right.
Because if you're like, I mean, that's my stepmama. She one of them people. If you just never see no wrong in yourself, I mean, you ain't never gonna take no accountability.
Right.
But I would say for those people who like when you really sit down and think about, your relationships with people and like your the reactions you get in your life in situations and things. I think that if you sit down and even if you can't admit it to other people, when you sit down and self-reflect, if you feel bad about stuff and you like, man, maybe I could have did that, or maybe, if there's some type of if there's something in you, like you said earlier, that's spiritual, if something in you starts stirring, that lets you know, like, okay, there something something's there. It might just now I can work with that. If you feel something, there's hope.
Right.
Now it's just a matter of getting you to realize that and then take action on it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Whether it be therapy, whether it be, you know, whatever it is that can help you get there, um, then that's probably what it is. But for a lot of people, there ain't no accountability.
Nah, hell no, they gonna run from that. They gonna run from that
Yeah,
easily,
they just
bro.
lost cause, bro. You just
Yeah.
gotta let them go.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Well, man, I appreciate the conversation. I appreciate you
Yeah, for
taking the
sure,
time
man.
out,
Yeah,
dog. I
yeah, it was
enjoyed
good,
doing this,
good, good talk.
man. Yeah, yeah. And whatever I can do to help to promote what you got going on, please let me know. And I'm looking forward because this ain't gonna be the first or last time you see us. I definitely want to bring you back on.
Yeah, I don't be doing. Like I told you, bro. I'm a regular dude, man.
Yeah.
I be traveling for work and shit all the time. I ain't no podcast or social media. Hey, man, I just run my mouth on TikTok. People just happen to listen.
Yeah, man. Hey, you do a good job at it because you either it be a good or hey, if you can get somebody attention, whether good or bad, doing this content, you doing something right.
Yeah, man, people tell me all the time, like, man, you need to do it. I thought about doing like a live show because I'm more like this, like live talking, interacting,
Yeah.
engaging with people. I'm better at that than like recording and then editing. I'm more like, I guess, how everybody, like how Kevin Samuels setup was.
Oh, I
I'm
see.
more I'm more of that type. So if I was to step out into that and do it, it would probably be that. But I just don't have a set schedule right now with my job. I be like I gotta leave for Singapore next week after next for like a month, and then from there I gotta fly to Guam and I'm gonna be out there for a month. So it's like I don't even have a set schedule to be doing the show because I'll try to be over there doing the show. It's gonna be two, 8 in the evening out there, and it's gonna be 8 in the morning over here. So.
Right. Yeah, no, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I understand, man. I understand, man. But
But
yeah,
if
man.
I was to step out into that the real content
Right.
sphere, it would be something like a live show.
I'll see. I'll see. Hey, man, whatever you do, I'm supporting it. Let me know what I can do
Yeah, for
to help
sure.
you, bro. But yeah, but shoot,
Yeah.
you take care.
You know